It is that time again. Brian is here, and we have the science hour tonight. So
Yes.
we are really going to zero in on some of the most exciting things that are going on right now. One of those is I'm not sure exactly what order your slides are in, Brian. So
Look, we're doing the me being right about Mars that Elon
you
confirmed.
being you
So
you being right again? Come
yes,
on,
me being right again.
we always have to do that one.
Yeah, yeah. But thinking this is like I think a bigger one. Let me just
Okay,
get into
all
this
right,
thing.
okay.
So get my slides going. Okay, so we wrote the book. Everyone knows we wrote the book,
Yep, yep.
AI Rising. There was a big chapter in there, which is about that I wrote, which was that Elon Musk would put data centers on Mars,
Right.
right? Which is like, wow, that's so crazy, so out there. But I've been doing videos about it, writing about it for over a year, right?
Okay.
Saying that it would be what would pay for the Mars colonization, would be that you have data centers on Mars making lots of money, right?
Mhm.
And so, as a little thing, the picture there shows that my agents on Mars from almost a year ago was a video that I put up, and I have, receipts for all the thing, and in the book, chapter in the book,
Right.
10 pages. So not just me saying, hey, this is an idea. This
Yeah.
is like me working out exactly 3.5 trillion chips that you could put on there. It's like, here's how you could do it. So I went into excruciating detail about that, which, buy the book and then, you can go over that in detail. So Elon Musk, in a all hands XAI meeting, said at the bottom there, long-term concepts include data centers in space, which we've been talking about a ton, all that, and which again I was early on, and Mars-related infrastructure, Mars AI data centers,
Right.
right?
Right.
So Elon confirmed that he's going to do that as well, right? So again, not just I'm saying this is going to happen. I said in detail why it would happen, how it happened, the money comparing um, a Mars data center to an Earth-based data center, like everything. And then Elon confirmed that he's going to do it.
So I think the first question, if I was a complete neophyte on this whole subject, I might at least know that even at the speed of light, even using lasers, it's going to take a lot longer for data to get to the United States, get to to planet Earth from
Mhm.
Mars than it would from a satellite out in space. So
Right.
how do we rectify that problem?
So the thing is, a data centers in orbit above us, which we have all the advantages of gone into detail. We know that works for AI inference,
Right,
not for AI training.
right,
AI inference means that you have ChatGPT, you already got your model, or you got Grok 4.1. It's already trained, and
right,
then you put it in some servers and data centers, and then you have it answer questions,
right,
right? So that is different than I need to train my model,
right.
right? So Google has put their servers with their TPUs and high bandwidth memory and everything else into a chamber with a proton beam, millions of electron volts of proton beam
Mhm.
to simulate the radiation of space
Okay.
in that orbit,
Okay.
right? And they have confirmed that that would have 1 in 10 million errors, which they can correct via software,
Okay.
right? And same thing for everyone else. Everyone can do the same thing.
Okay.
So AI inference, correct the errors, we're good. I dump the chips in, I don't have to change anything, which is the huge reason that this will work, is
Right.
that the AI inference is bigger problem than the AI training.
Right. Right.
But I want more AI training.
Yes.
I want more AI training, right? So where can I get protection from AI training? One, I could solve it and do something and shove the satellites up in orbit in other places.
Right.
But if I put it on, say, a planet like Mars, which has the same land area as the Earth, it's a smaller planet, but it has no oceans. We're 70% ocean. Now we have the same land area. We can just build all over the surface. It has an ocean of frozen water. So I can then use that water to cool my massive data centers, which if I did 100 gigawatts, the size that Elon's talking about 100 gigawatts per year, right?
Yes.
You're talking about significant fractions of the Mississippi River to cool your data centers. Okay. So yes, you can do it on Earth, but then you are using a lot of water to cool it off. And
Yeah.
then it's not like it's the water burned up, but you're releasing heated water, which is messing up your fish, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
No problems like that on Mars. Go ahead.
Isn't it really cold on Mars anyway? Wouldn't it already not
Yeah,
need as much cooling?
right. It's not needed for cooling, which goes to something called um, power utilization efficiency, PUE.
Hmm.
It's a big thing. If you try and build an AI data center, and I've talked to people who are working on those things, it's, yes, my PUE in Iceland is 1.05. My PUE which is pretty good someplace else in uh, West Virginia, might be 1.2,
Hmm.
right? My PUE in someplace, which just means they give percentages. If my 1.2 versus 1.05, I'm giving up 15%,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
that's when I'm running the numbers, it matters, right? So to your point, a very cold Mars with a constant temperature, a cold temperature, lets me get a better PUE, right? But the PUE kind of doesn't matter if it's like I have enough power to do it at all
Hmm.
versus I have no power.
Right.
It becomes, when I'm comparing, I could do it a gigawatt or a terawatt here versus a terawatt there,
Yeah.
right? But if I have no terawatt, and the thing is, doing it on Earth, I have no option really to do it because I'm changing the course of rivers once you get beyond a certain size, right? A certain, like I want to do more than 20 gigawatts per year,
Yeah.
right? And again, I've worked out all the details.
Yes.
It really starts to break down. I can do 4,000 terawatts, 4 million gigawatts on Mars.
Hmm.
Okay. And I can do that for training,
Yeah.
right? So I can get all this power and it'd be, how can you build so much? It's using the bots, you're replicating your factories. It's like I have one factory, I have two factories. Two factories, I have four. In 10 doublings, I have 1,000,
Hmm.
right? So that's the way you're going to do this exponential. And it's like the way I can do it exponentially is I keep building, building, building. And because there's nothing else there,
Yeah.
I just keep going, right? I spread across Mars like a petri dish of bacteria, right? So that's how I can do it so fast. And that's why the energy stuff works. And again, I've worked it out in 10 pages. Read the book. I've explained how that all works. Okay. And it will work for training. So the largest training center we got now is the one that Elon's building in Tennessee,
Right.
1 gigawatt. There's work and plans to get to 5 gigawatts, 10 gigawatts of the training, right? If I can get to 4 million 4 million gigawatts of power, right? Then I got 1 million times more than anything I can build around here, right? And I can't do it in orbit without making my chips radiation resistant. It's just really, really hard thing to do, right? I can do a significant amount on the moon. We can talk about that later, right? But Mars, I can do it. I can make a AI training facility theoretically 4 million times bigger. Easily, I can do 1,000 times bigger in the terawatt range, which is double the power of the United States, right? So then that 1,000 times training means I can take a model. Let's say the model has 200 IQ, right? Based on me going to these factors of whatever bigger, I can shove it up to maybe 400 IQ,
I see.
right? So I make it super genius beyond human
Hmm.
there, and I still got another 1,000x to go, right? Or even more. So that means I can bump it up to an IQ of 800, right? So that's why it's like, what is the value of an 800 IQ thing, right? I don't know, but it's like I can make it on Mars and we can find out. It would be in science fiction, it's called a world mind.
Yeah. Hmm.
I can make an AI world mind on Mars, and then it can train for 2 years. Like I said, to your point about transmission, it's a few minute transmission thing for me to send the communications over, do this bunch of stuff, do the software stuff. It trains there, just like we have the training here. We do training runs every, few weeks, few months. You do multiple training runs, and then you train up your AI. The AI is trained, and then we do a release. We transmit it back. We'll have a bunch of Starlinks all over to send the communications back. We'll have high-speed communications, but we will have that minute lag. But I'm only sending back my
Training.
100 gigabyte file of here's the trained AI.
Right.
I'm sending it back. I trained it over there. I'm sending it back here. It's going to run in my space cloud
Right.
of inference.
Right.
So that's what we'll train it there, send it back.
Yeah. So the latency, what you're basically saying is the latency doesn't matter because
Right.
this is training, not inference. Okay, I get it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So, terraforming Mars. How many people? What did you figure out how many humans would have to go? How many humans would? Now I know Elon wants 1 million people up there.
Yeah.
Is that going to be what you're thinking as well? 1 million to manage this thing and
It'll be trivial to do the million people because you'll be making so many thousands of trillions of dollars to do this thing. It's like sending stuff over becomes this rounding error. It's like we'll have thousands of starships sending stuff over, we'll fly over, and then we'll bring people too. It would be like load after load, 100,000, millions of tons we're bringing over there. And then, oh yeah, we'll also bring some people along with all our bots and stuff like that. And we also build out for humans will be, we're changing the entire surface of Mars, right? We're changing huge amounts. It's like, I don't know, it's bigger than anything we've ever done. So doing that extra part of doing the people on Mars is trivial. Before we'd always like, how do I terraform Mars? And I gotta, a cost. Oh, I gotta launch 8 starships over there to do it. It's so costly for me to do that. We'll be sending fleets of like thousands over there all the time, right? So it's like someone from a Polynesian island doing ships. It's like, okay, I got a rowing ship and we're sending 5 guys over there. It's so hard. It's all muscle power and that kind of thing. Versus the Christopher Columbus, the time there's 200 large sailing galleons going around the Mediterranean doing trade between France and Morocco and North Africa, and we're doing this trade, and so we have enough. So we want to go 10 times further. We're going over to North America with our 200 ships. It's why the colonization happened from Europe. It's because they did Mediterranean first, right? So now and they had the business function of, I need to have spice, I need to have furs, which everyone can pay for. Now we have the business function of, now we have AI data centers.
Right.
It will pay for everything. Right. And then I did work out though in detail. Other people have done the research on it about how do we do the terraforming of Mars, right? And it's relatively easy to raise the temperature because right now it's so cold. Of course, now if I have AI data centers, the AI data centers themselves are generating so much heat that they could do it anyway, right? But the other thing would be that that you can take a bunch of carbon rods. So generate in a factory, produce a kind of like a special kind of carbon soot that you could use to be a super greenhouse gas, right? So then you could raise the temperature, you can bump it up several degrees every few decades. Now it's kind of like because we're going to be generating so much heat off of the compute, it's kind of like, well, I don't need to.
Don't need it, yeah.
I need to bump up the temperature anymore, right? And then what happens is you raise the temperature a certain amount, the ice melts and you start getting lakes and stuff like that. And then you add in some biological processes. And there's teams that have worked out exactly what order of biological things you want to add in order to start greening Mars. But some of those things would still take more time. So what you can get to is a t-shirt environment where I no longer need the spacesuit, right? Because the temperature is good, but I'll still wear a gas mask because the oxygen part takes longer. You can think of it like right now that Mars is like, so you go up to Everest. When you climb Everest, you're short on oxygen, you bring oxygen supply, it's cold, all that kind of stuff. Mars is like an Everest that's another 20 miles or 50 miles taller.
I see.
Even colder, even thinner than that. And as you bring the temperature down, as you improve and thicken the air, it's like you're coming down from this theoretical mountain, right? So that's what we can do for that. That's how terraforming works. Easy for temperature, you don't need the spacesuits, harder for the oxygen, and also getting the plants and other stuff to happen.
All right. So in order to go to Mars with 1,000 ships, first you have to go with 1. Now I know that NASA has sent up 1, I think, and somebody else has sent up 1, or is it just NASA?
No, we send out small missions to Mars. Like, so on the order of maybe a dozen or something like that.
About a dozen.
Like we sent several rovers, like two or three.
Okay.
We sent a little mini helicopter
Oh, yeah.
drone helicopter thing. Um, I think a couple other countries sent something.
Okay.
So we sent multiple missions to
Okay, so
Mars.
we've gone up there. We've gone up there with these smaller rockets, which is easier to do. You've explained this to me, so
Yeah.
that like I'm five,
Yeah.
and then you've told me that in order for us to send Starship up there, we need to have the refueling stations that are going to multiples of these, I guess, per Starship
Yeah.
in order to get them all the way to Mars because the size of the Starship compared to
Yeah.
these smaller vehicles. So in order for us to do that, I guess I'll rephrase my statement. In order for us to send 1,000 Starships, first we need to get one or five or whatever Elon wants to do.
Right.
Do you think we have a window coming up in November, December, which might be somewhat expandable, you say?
Mhm.
But do you think that we make it this year? Do we get five ships?
2026. Yeah. So 2026.
Sorry, I keep saying this year. I've been saying
Yeah.
this year in my last program too. It's
Mhm.
going to be next year soon, and then I'll say
Yeah.
this year anyway.
Yeah. So 2026. Yes. So every 2 years, roughly, 26 months, something like that, you get your window for Mars. The window means that you can do a um, low energy Holman transfer. So it's a way to get over there. It's like it's how you kind of like lob the ball. So so if it's a football thing where it's like I'm the quarterback, I'm throwing the ball, and then the receiver is coming into position and catching the ball, right? So the receiver Mars is always going round and round and round. So I want where I'm throwing the ball, and then that Mars is gonna come underneath and then be there, right? But if I toss the ball with low energy, right? You just kind of like lob it, right? Then the person has to run there, like take like 1 extra second, 2 extra seconds to get there. I can drill the ball, if I have a gun, a quarterback gun of an arm, and throw it, but it takes more energy, right? So the window can be wider if I drill the ball. I'm not throwing this, little curving, looping ball over there. I'm like line driving that thing into the person, right? So that's how you can get if I'm willing to burn more fuel,
Mhm.
go to less efficiency, I can then get a wider window
Okay. All right.
on that. So, but the thing in terms of does it happen next year,
Mhm.
right? Is that um, how many launches can we get? So one, it has to fly at all. And it had not gone to orbit yet. It's gone to just below orbit. They could have gone to orbit, but
Right.
they chose not to because they wanted to be able to relight the engine to deorbit,
Right.
right? So that was the reason that they didn't do it. So they want to be sure, and
Mhm.
now they've done a deorbit thing. So they're pretty good about that. The next one should be to orbit, and then they'll deorbit. Although it is the version 3. They're changing from version 2 to version 3. So maybe they're safe and cautious on the first version 3 to make sure that everything's good. We changed 10,000 things.
Right. Right.
Let's do one more good to make sure that we're good,
Yeah.
right? So that happened over the first few months of 1 or 2 launches, make it good. It could be 1, could be 2, whatever. They make sure now we're good. We on to orbit. We got to do orbit, all that kind of stuff. Everything's working perfectly with the new version, right? Then okay, now we go to the races. Now we can do a lot more launches, right? So they have enough launch towers, they have enough authorizations. They could, in theory, do up to 100, 110 launches, but it's probably not going to be that many. It's probably going to be 30 or 50 or something like that,
Okay.
right? So if you do 30 or 50, then 10 to 20 need to go to NASA for preparing for the lunar mission in 2028. Everyone's talking about, oh, let's do the lunar mission. So that thing you have to do, and then you want to do missions for the version 3 communication satellite,
Right.
where, hey, I can make a lot more money by
Right.
putting up the bigger satellites. I want to do that
Immediately.
right? And then there's 5 launches, 6 launches you can get away with to do the mission to Mars,
Okay.
unmanned mission to Mars, right? So if this is all working and I have 6 extra missions, I think the priority is NASA moon prep first, which you're not getting done, but you need to do certain things this year. Then the Mars thing with maybe 3 or 5 high priority communication things, and then the Mars thing, and then the other one. The reason that Elon would sacrifice, because they did sacrifice SpaceX to not do the version 3 communication stuff first. Every one of those launches is 20 times better than a Falcon 9 launch.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There is a lot of money that they can make from that, right? But Elon says, I'm going to delay a month, 6 weeks, so I can do 6 launches, refuel, send the mission to Mars, because I think Mars is important. So I'll do that and then come back to do, because I'm going to get all my satellite stuff anyway. Whether it's ultimately not going to really affect getting the full constellation out, right? And there's enough capacity in the V2 minis up there, the 10,000 he has up there now, that he can service everyone. Anyone who needs to do anything, he's got that under control. So I can see him prioritizing Mars, doing those 6 missions, because it's like launch, refuel, and then go.
But 5, like he wanted to do, or
well, the thing is, to do a full refueling, might take 10 refuelings. And also, to your point, like he had wanted to do 5 rockets to go to Mars. He talked about doing 5 rockets, which would be 5 times 5, or it's 5 times 6. I would need 30. 5 to go up there, a bunch to refuel on that. I'm saying at least the 1.
I see.
Rocket
okay.
Go. But if he has 100 launches,
maybe
30, 50.
So, but he might, if he's running out of time, he might prefer to send 1 than to wait 2 years.
Right. Because the reason that you want to at least get 1 off there, and maybe you want to do 1, 2, or 3 or something like that, is that you want to go unmanned. You want to land on Mars with the Starship, right? You have the little landing leg you want to land on Mars. One, you have pre-supply. You brought stuff with you. There's extra fuel, the other good stuff, and I can land. Because the thing is, I pretty much cannot or don't want to send people going to Mars in 2 years if I have not already done it with unmanned first. Right. I want to. So that's going to prove that I can do it, which goes to your point of it's better to do at least 3 or 5. 1, in case I screw up, I can try and do it again, like immediately. They're kind of like going back to back.
Right.
This week, this one, this week, next one. The first 2 blow up. Next. Okay, good one. We got one. So that would be the ideal situation to do the 4 or 5 unmanned missions. Have material there. It's waiting. I could have Optimus bots in there. We're going to start building them by the thousands. You can load up thousands of Optimus bots in there. You can have equipment ready to go. They unload, and now they're building stuff like landing pads, all kinds of things there that they're working to do. It's like hugely beneficial to have this unmanned thing so that we can be properly ready to start sending the first low volume number of people, astronauts, to try and go to Mars.
Okay, so I only have one last question, and that is, I've been seeing people posting something about putting the rocket up in the non-window, and you send it X miles, and it hangs out.
Yeah,
and then it lands. So does that take like a lot longer, or does it? Is it an option?
It is an option. It takes a lot longer, but then it's pretty much then. So this is what Blue Origin did. Blue Origin, for their second New Glenn launch, had a NASA Mars Escapade mission, one of those really light ones that's going out there. Like, they can lift up 50 tons, and this thing weighs like 1 or 2 tons, which is all these small missions that they go up there.
Right.
So it's going to hang out at a Lagrange point. The balance point between, there's several of them. One of those Lagrange points, which is where the gravity between the Earth, Sun, and Moon balances. So a parking space in the Earth Moon system, where they can kind of wait. So it goes there, waits for Mars to kind of come by. Okay, now we go. And then it goes to Mars from there, right? So the benefit of that would be that it could get there in the very, very earliest part of the window, right? So the next time. So if we're looking at November, December 2028, it's coming in at October or September 2028, right? So I have results
Right.
a few months ahead of when I want to launch.
Right. Right.
Not like 2 years, but a few months
Yes.
ahead of when I want to
Yes.
launch,
Yes.
right? So then I at least know, okay, I got something there. I've proved it out. I don't have much time to react to it, right? And ideally, if I have, again, if I drilled it from there, where it's like I hit the gun and got there early, maybe I can get there in July or August at a 4 months. So I assume certain things
Yeah. Yeah.
and that 4 months or even 6, 7 months. Because again, I could push the my outbound mission 2 or 3 months later because I'm going lighter with less payload. My hot rod going with humans, right? So I do this other thing and do it. So there's ways that you can open it up where I get my unmanned mission ahead of the manned mission.
All right. All right. So let's go on to number two, which might have been the Tesla and there's chips, and a new thing that was came out the other day about Tesla hiring to make ASICs chips.
Right. Okay. So let me pull this up. Hang on a second. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Okay. This is the other time that Elon said my AI data center and space stuff was good. Oh, I
Okay.
had the other thing. Okay, AI data center, ASIC chips. So Tesla's hiring. They put up job postings that they're going to have ASIC chips, which are these programmable hardware. So you don't have like your CPU and then your operating system and then stacks of other stuff and then your program, right? That gives up 100 times or 200 times in efficiency, right? Because I have a general program running on general hardware, right? If I say I only want to run this particular program, I burn the program into the chip itself.
Hmm.
And ASICs are a way to do that. It's actually, you have it where you can program the hardware and then you adjust it. So that gives you this 100 times, 200 times efficiency in theory for that. So that's a way to, because everything about energy efficiency, programming, compute efficiency is hugely important for AI. If I
Sure.
can get 100 gigawatts of compute out of 1 gigawatt,
Hmm.
then that's a huge benefit,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
So that's why you want to have ASIC programmers for this thing.
Okay. All right. So this will be another step that Elon is taking towards this mission. Um, shouldn't we be hearing about groundbreaking or more definitive things pretty soon
For which one?
for the Terrafab?
Oh, for the Terrafab. I'm not anticipating that to happen for another year or two,
Oh,
probably
wow.
more likely two, right?
Wow.
Because groundbreaking could happen a year earlier.
Yeah.
But in terms of like hardcore, I'm building my semiconductor fab of Giga Austin kind of thing, right? Is that they're already working with Samsung
Right.
in a tight partnership. That's kind of their for the battery equivalent of Nevada with
Right. Right.
with
Panasonic.
Panasonic, right? Nevada with Panasonic, right? Where they work together
Right.
jointly
Right.
on that battery factory. So they're pretty much doing that in Texas with Samsung with their fab,
Hmm.
right? Elon will walk the line. He'll have a lot of control, similar to the situation he had with Panasonic with batteries, right? So he's still doing that. That thing is not up and running yet,
Right.
right? So there's things he can learn and say, okay, I need to do that before I do, my next one.
Hmm.
Before he makes his 4680 factory, it's like, let me learn what I need to learn
Right.
from
Right.
Samsung Texas chip fab,
Hmm.
right? So you can overlap some, get land, do whatever, have a general idea of the size of the building, right? But until he gets his full learnings on it, I would see him holding off going full bore.
Okay. All right. Because most people are saying it would take him 4 to 5 years to start production, right?
Right, right. But he's going to get huge amounts of chips from
Right.
Samsung. It's
Right.
just that, you know, plenty up to even, the first maybe even enough for the 100 gigawatts. But he wants to go to 300 gigawatts. He wants to go to terawatts,
Right.
and on the moon and that kind of stuff. So yes, he does run out of chips. And then also the allocation part, right? Where, just like CATL can produce enough batteries for Tesla, but, were they going to give enough if there was enough competition who are buying, right? So Samsung and TSMC can give you enough, but then it's like only if they're giving you 20%. If you're down to 5%, then you don't of their capacity, you don't have enough, right? So are they giving 20%? Are they giving you 30%? So, but the thing is, a huge benefit is he needs their help now a lot, right? He's totally dependent upon them to get these chips, right? But they know in the 2030s, he's going to be the only one able to light up their chips. So you better be nice to Elon now, because then you're totally dependent on him for your next, 99% extra money that you're going to go. You could be making 5% of your money in 2030, or you can make 100%. Because, am I forced to only build on the ground? Am I forced to be the back of the line, right? So that's what's going to happen. So, so they will work with him, because it's become the more, he raises the money with the IPO. He spent $200 billion building all these factories, making that stuff up in space, that, he'll be in as much or more control than NVIDIA over the whole situation.
Okay, so the big news for today was about the Delaware Chancellery Court.
Yes.
And for those who missed it, you can also go back and listen to Larry's commentary on this. But I did want Brian to also chime in, because generally speaking, Larry and Brian have completely different takes on stuff. So what did you think about today's decision, and how does that impact Tesla?
So the wonderful thing is that Elon gets more voting control. We can get rid of the plan B, which was they were giving him restricted shares. Right. Restricted shares would work in terms of getting him more voting control, but it was really, really expensive. Tesla had already paid, in terms of all the taxes and other stuff, for the 2018 pay package, because they were paying back when they started in 2018. Not when it was a $56 billion package, not when it's a $150 billion package now, but back when it was like a $500 million thing, right? So they did that back in the $500 million days, and then we paid for it. But now the whole problem, one big problem with this pay package was that it was going to trigger tens of billions of dollars in costs to us to give what we owed Elon. Right. So it was a huge cost to the company. It was going to be costly to Elon. It was worse in every way than that way. A lot of cost to it. So now we don't have to do that. So we save a lot of money. Elon gets 303 million shares. He had 413, so now he has like 700 million some shares, right? So which also means that Elon's was calculated just under $700 billion of net worth. Now he's up over $800 billion on that. So he's very close to the $1 trillion thing, even before any other 2025 pay package thing.
So Sam is thinking about trying to raise $750 billion. I mean, well, not raise, but raise
at the valuation,
$100 billion,
with
$100 billion with a valuation of $750 billion. Elon's already worth more. He should just ask Elon for the money.
Yeah, I don't think Elon will give it to him. I think there's some bad blood between those two guys. But to that point though, it actually they supposedly raised the valuation to 830 billion. Again, more people want to give them the 100 billion, and say 830 billion, which means that xAI raising at 240 billion. If xAI is really good, it can easily justify the next time they raise at $500 billion. And that would be enough to put Elon into $1 trillion.
There you go.
The next xAI raise puts him to $1 trillion.
So
or also the
go ahead.
And then also the SpaceX IPO. IPO middle of next year, he'll probably be worth like $2 trillion total with xAI up.
Or when Tesla stock is worth 1,000 to 1,500 or more by this time next year.
Yeah, winners keep winning.
Winners keep winning. So all right. So then the the Sam Altman deal, if
Yeah.
people are willing to pay Sam another 100 billion,
Yeah.
does that mean that worries about Sam running out, worries about XA,
OpenAI running out of money.
yeah, running out of money or not succeeding, is that now tabled for a while?
Yeah, I think it would mostly be tabled for a while if he got $100 billion. That he's good on most of he's not good for the full 1.4 trillion, but he's better on it. Also, he's not going to pay for his own compute because that's 1.4 trillion
I
in
see.
other deals.
Yeah.
But it's good for him to make the AI better so that it makes sense to do those 1.4 trillion deals. And also they will make the all the extra use cases, not just doing chat, but figuring out enterprise. Like they're doing a bunch of stuff to make a more versatile, useful bunch of AI and to create all the structure and infrastructure around that. So there's a lot of complexity with what they're doing for that with that $100 billion.
So I'm sure you're paying very close attention, much more than I am. Were you concerned that the most recent version of the ChatGPT was subpar and that they were falling behind?
Um, I do believe that OpenAI will fall behind in spite of all this money.
Okay.
It's a lot of money, but it's less than what I think what Google and what xAI with Elon can do. That they're still ahead. It's also as much money they have not been able to speed up the deployment and build of the data centers. They don't have their own chips.
Mhm.
Google has their own TPUs. They're making those made by Samsung or whatever. Elon will still have his own chips and that
Right.
kind of thing. I think they'll probably try to make their own chips on the inference side. They're doing deals with everyone else. So it's just, and they can hang in long enough to start catching up and doing things. But I still think the advantage goes to Google and xAI. And I think with the AI data centers in space
Mhm.
and also distributed AI via Tesla bot
Right.
and
Robotaxi.
robotaxis and FSD cars or whatever, that those are massive compute advantages that xAI sustains.
Okay. So I don't know if we talked about this the other day, but it just seems appropriate maybe to bring it up again if we did. And that is some people that I listen to right now are saying that just like any other industry, that the AI industry will divide up into niches. And so where XAI seems to be looking very, very hard at the video and video game niche, that, OpenAI might be looking more at the um, consumer. Google might be looking more at, I'm sorry, Microsoft might be looking more at enterprise.
Mhm.
Google already has their massive amount of people that are involved that they can make Gmail better or whatever. So is that how you see it for the future? Not a winner take all, but splitting up the pie among the various kinds of ideas?
I see the splitting up the pie thing as a short phase.
Okay.
So you recall NVIDIA used to be only the graphics compute, the
Right.
video game
Right.
chip company,
Right.
right? And then Intel had the general chip,
Right.
right? But if you ace the important sector and you get dominance where your architecture is structurally superior,
Uh-huh.
right? Which is what the parallel compute stuff that is happening with the GPU is, then you win everything,
I see.
right? So you're going to split off with your different strategies of here's a domain that I conquer and crush, and I think it's the most important. But then they're all going to try and go for the whole enchilada. It's like, um, some, you have some global war thing, and it's like, okay, in Risk, I'm taking over, you know, the board game Risk. I'm taking over something. I'm taking over South America. I'm taking over a section. I'm taking over Australia. You're taking over North America, right? But then you're still building up your army that you want to take over the whole world,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the taking over the whole world, I don't see the I have my continent, you have your continent thing as a stable thing. It's going to temporarily happen,
Hmm.
right? But
Mhm.
then I see it ultimately like that you have a 80%, 90% victor.
I see.
It's a question of like, can you make that moat really last? And
Mhm, mhm.
given how superior something else could be, it's I I don't see the moats. I see falling apart.
Okay. So I had one more question and it went away. But then, that
Mhm.
happens.
Yeah.
So what have we left out? Oh, you got more.
So one little glory
Oh,
thing is that only $1 for the guy with 9 shares. Tornetta, the guy who they used as the stool pigeon or whatever like that for doing the lawsuit against Elon 2018 pay package.
is it one
He had
dollar?
9 shares of Tesla. What?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Is it $1 or $1 million?
$1.
$1. Okay.
$1. That's what he got. Yeah. Which, because, there was nothing there for
Yeah.
him. The lawyers got 4 times their hours. They claimed 19,000 hours. It ended up being 50 million bucks. They were trying to go for like billions and billions. So the lawyers only got
So
50 million.
sad about that.
Yeah.
I'm so sad they're getting anything.
Right. Right. It'd be better if they didn't, but
Yeah. How about one
um,
time your hours?
yeah. So that's, again, lawyers still win, and then
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding.
other, yeah. So yeah, that was it.
Okay.
So yeah, so then it was also the reduced out of pocket thing. That whole pay package thing was also, like I said, better the cost for us. Um,
All right, so let's talk about the stock for a minute. The stock was up and down and all around today because it was Triple Witching Day. Maybe you have some thoughts on Triple Witching Day. We've got a few days left. What do we have? 3 and 2 and 1. Not even all those are full days. Anyway,
yeah.
we've got 6 or 7 days of trading left till the end of the year. Are we still going to get to 500?
We're sitting just on the cusp. So what, 487, 480
Yeah,
in the 480s.
right,
So we're, basically at all-time highs, in
right,
that
right,
range
right,
within the margin of error.
right.
So all it takes is just any whiff of good news. The low interest rates on everything else, driving up a general market rally. Um, Pulling out more of the safety monitors, right?
Mhm.
Any kind of like pop of good news, even like the um, Elon getting his pay package,
Yeah,
right?
and I was
On
looking, there's hardly anything in
the
the
after
after
hours.
hours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on Monday,
Okay.
now that they fully digested that and
Right.
realized,
Right.
oh, that saves Tesla some billions of
Right.
dollars,
Right. Right.
right? Then that could be a trigger. Also, all the issue of is Elon motivated? All that kind of stuff. That is
That's gone.
a positive good news. And also, like, does he have his share of the company that he needs to do whatever, right?
Right.
So uncertainty has been taken out. So that all it would take would be what? Just like a $20 pop, you're 500. Do you hold 500? That's another question, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But I think the holding 500 involves and keeping above it to 550 involves more and more good news around FSD, getting out 14.3, getting out more volume of robotaxi, showing that we're going to get to really good cybercab numbers, all that kind of stuff. So the fundamental sustainable thing is 10 times parameter model, all that stuff happening over the next few months. That's what's going to be sustainable. And I can see it kind of like floating around here, 480 to 510, bouncing around at
Mhm.
that level, breaking above 500, but not say holding it or going above it. So I see that happening. Um, but to have sustainable good news, and then January 22nd, the first earnings call, where we already got 14.3, we're already moving safety drivers and monitors, and then Elon giving, here's what's going to happen for 2026. Here's a predictable thing. Here's the cybercab is happening. If he gives real um, real details
Yeah. Yeah.
and the whole team's behind him, which I fully expect,
Mhm.
right? That I see would be the launch pad, and then actually delivering, executing on those the next few months. Um, I could see then we really take off. Like when we're producing however many thousands of cybercabs and rolling them out for robotaxi, then all the questions are off. And many of our fellow bulls, people that you interview, are not on board with there will be over 100,000 cybercabs in 2026.
Yeah,
Which,
you and I talked about this Wednesday night, and it just drives me nuts that I don't know. You talked, you, you came up with the number 310,000 kind of as a minimum number of
yeah,
cyber cabs that could be built by then. I said, okay, cut it in half. Let's say it's 150,000. They run into trouble, more trouble than they think, or
yeah,
whatever it is. So we get 150,000. Well, Elon's not going to make those 150,000 unless he has a place to deploy them.
right, right.
So I think he knows he's got a place to deploy. I think he's already talked to Duffy. They went out to dinner together, and Duffy said,
Yeah,
"Well, yeah, we're gonna do it, Elon, but we can't
yeah.
say anything yet."
And not like Elon getting less powerful. Over the course of like a month, he's gone from only 400 billion to 800 billion dollars of wealth. He's
Plus,
knocking the door on $1 trillion, right?
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
he is more powerful than ever, right? And then so the key, when will we know that whether the regular bulls or us super hyper bulls are correct is, do we start making those cars April?
yeah,
Beginning of April, middle of April, something like that, right? If it's starting to be later, that's a strike against us.
right.
When you start making them, the first month, the second month, third month, are we scaling up to 20,000, 40,000 vehicles,
Yes,
right?
in the field, deployed.
Field or deployed, right? If we are
Katie Bar,
200,000, here's by the door, right? And then we're off to that. The other big thing, the huge thing that we're going to be seeing is, do they release Grok 4.2? Yes, it's XAI, but
right,
Grok 4.2 at the end of this year, and is it really, really great?
right,
Which again goes to, is our AI great? The
right.
better our AI, the better FSD and other stuff is going to be. And then it goes to, what can we expect more from the 10 parameter model? And then February, March, Grok 5, the first fully B300 in, latest version of the chip model,
Mhm.
which Gavin Baker, who owned XAI and SpaceX and blah, 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 $5 billion or more, says those models are great.
Right.
And XAI was the first version of that. And Elon says 10% of artificial general intelligence, where artificial general intelligence means the AI step changes and can do a bunch more stuff. It could be utterly transformational.
Right.
So then that 10% chance. But the thing is, the 10% chance doesn't stop. It's not like 10% chance of artificial general intelligence and then it's all over. The chances keep going up.
Right.
Right? 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 6. I'm releasing a model every month,
Right.
going up to then the odds are going. It's like, okay, 1 in 10 didn't work. But now next time it's like 20%. Now all I have to do is, instead of rolling, snake eyes on 2 dice, all I got to do is roll a 1 on 1 dice,
Right.
right? And then after that, it's like 1 and 2 on a 1 dice. Oh, we got there. Or one after that, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And then not being there is not a complete myth. It's like still getting better and better.
Yeah. Yeah. We really won't know because we're on completely uncharted territory. We don't know at what level, even using IQ as an analogy, or using smarter than PhDs as an analogy, or taking any of these tests which are out there. We don't really know when we cross over, and all of a sudden we start solving medical problems. We start
So,
solving.
so the way Shane Legg, who's co-founder of DeepMind, which is the Google's AI team, the way he describes it, one, he says it's inevitable. He called it minimal AGI in 2027, then full AGI after that. So he's given timelines on that, and we can go over that in more detail. But he's saying the way to do it is, the first pass is 1,000 tests, right? A battery of 1,000 tests, 1,000 people going at it, checking, is it good at all these things? So that's the first pass. Not, going below a bar of like not quite human level means you're not generally better than all humans. So you're like, a nurse is going at it, a lawyer is going at it, using it over and over again with new questions
Yeah.
that are not stored anywhere. So
Mhm.
it can't cheat. It
Mhm.
can't look, steal the answer key and then answer
Right.
the question,
Right.
right? Or train only for that. So 1,000 general things, but that would only be the first level. The next would be, okay, now you're interesting. Maybe you're doing something because you're not falling out, screwing something up, right? Then it's like, okay, now we do adversarial tests. I'm really trying to hook you up and really trying. So it goes through a set of semi-friendly tests, but across the board,
Mhm.
1,000 different things, people and stuff, and then adversarial. I'm really trying to trip you up, and then you pass that. Okay, now you're at that level. Next go around toward, he has another battery of tests that he's working towards, right? But really, really try to break it down, not trying to be friendly, and this has to be um, the people really trying to work hard to make it fail,
Right.
right? I'm really trying to
Right. Right.
trying to find any gaps in what I'm doing there. And then he has another set of tests he's thinking about for full AGI and another level for the superintelligence. Superintelligence is harder and harder because, beyond us, it's like I'm trying to trip up Einstein, right?
Right.
I'm trying to trip up Einstein in physics or something.
Or I'm trying to just trip up you.
Right, right. That becomes harder. But then you say that a way to proxy that would be it's making Nobel Prize winning discoveries on a
Yeah.
consistent basis. How much faster can I get a Nobel Prize winning discovery? How fast can I push things out, right? And then it would also be you would need to pull together your teams of your Nobel Prize winners, your top people to
Yeah.
work against it in order to try and do that. So there are people working on this is the real
Yeah.
deal that the um, the written tests, human last exam are not enough. To your point, we have to work harder and harder to know how good are you really,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And just about the time we figure out how good it is,
yeah,
it'll take over.
right, right. But the thing is, like um, this could happen this next year. So then it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what is a
Yeah.
stock price when they get AGI? When your AGI is in your robotaxi car, AGI is doing your Tesla bot, right? Okay, so now what's the share price? It's like,
Well, and then according to Elon,
yeah,
if Grok 4 can play the stock market, then he doesn't need to raise any more money.
right. I
He'll,
know, I know.
he'll have all the money.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Brian, I think
Yeah.
we've covered enough for this day.
Okay.
We'll look forward to what's going to happen on Monday, and we'll see what happens over this crazy rest of the year and then into 2026.
Yeah.
Transformational, I believe.
I
Brian,
think you too. Okay.
thanks as always, and to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.
Bye.
You have to close too, right?